Hey guys, so I'm doing a little rebuilding and I thought I would show you something new that I got. Previously, on most of my builds, I've been using the RROSD from Red Rotor. I like it a lot, it works really well. I like having an OSD and it's simple, easy to install. You don't have to screw around with installing firmware and stuff and all the headaches that come along with setting up a minimum OSD. And so I've used the RROSD on several builds, but I just got something new. This is the HUBOSD8 made by Realacc or something, I don't know. But a lot of you have probably seen the Matek version that has come out just right after this one. I mean, it's the exact same thing. So I got this one because, like I said, I pre-ordered from Banggood a while ago and it came, I don't know, a week or two ago or whatever. But I was having trouble with this build that had the Red Rotor OSD on it yesterday. So I thought I'd swap it out. Well, actually, I took it out just to take a look at it, to see if there was any problems with it or, you know, anything was gunked up or causing shorts or something like that. But then I remembered that I had this, so I thought I'd give it a shot. And so let's take a look at it. It's pretty nice. You know, it's a little bigger than your standard 36 millimeter board, because as you can see, it extends out on each side a little bit. But you know, it's your typical PDB. It has a hookup for your battery lead and positive and negative hookups for each speed controller. Then it also has 12 volt and 5 volt regulators. The 12 volt is a linear regulator, that little joker right there, and the 5 volt is a switching regulator, so that 5 volt reg will be good for powering your flight controller and stuff like that, because there should be a little less noise on that one. But it has multiple sets of pads. Let's see here, 12 volt pads, and then there's also, I've already kind of soldered over them so you can't really see them that well, but there's 12 volt pads right here, and then there's also two sets of 5 volt pads. So there's a set right here and then another set over here, and then it has in and out for video because it's also an OSD, as I mentioned. And I was just looking at the manual. I hooked it up to a spare VTX and a camera just because I wanted to see what the OSD looked like, and I like it. The numbers are really big and easy to read, especially on my DOM HDs over here, which with the Red Rotor now, the numbers for voltage and milliamp hours used are down at the very bottom, and I actually have to like look down. And you know, if you're familiar with issues with the HDs, is that the things at the edge of the screen have a tendency to sometimes be blurry. So this one, the numbers are really big and much more visible, which is nice. And something else that's nice about it is, and I saw this when I was reading the manual, when the current is less than 2 amps, it has a slightly different display than when the current is above 2 amps. So that's pretty cool, and it has a built-in low voltage warnings, and it auto detects the cell count, which is nice too. So I'm pretty excited to get this on my build here and take it for a spin and see what it looks like. So I'm gonna go ahead and stick it on. Alright, so here's what you see in the goggles. On the bottom left, you have these 4 numbers. You have the current voltage, the minimum voltage that it's seen, the current amp draw, and the peak amp draw. And once you arm the quad, and that will cause the current reading to go above the 2 amp threshold, then those max and min values disappear and you just see current readings. So your current voltage and your current current. And then over on the right, on the top, you have the power used, or the milliamp hours used, and a timer. And so, like I said before, these numbers are much bigger than on the RROSD. And so if you're using HDs, or really probably any goggles, but probably more so with the HDs, like these numbers are much easier to read. I felt like with the smaller numbers in the RROSD, when I was using the HDs, that I had to actually like look down at the bottom of the screen, whereas with these, they're big enough. I still feel like I can focus on the middle and still see them really well. So I like that a lot. And also I don't know if I guess the font is different too, where you can see the letters are white and it has a like a black text shadow, whereas I think on the RROSD the text is just white. So sometimes it can get washed out and it makes it difficult to read. But these are big and much clearer, and I just really like it. It worked out really well. Um, I've used other PDBs with a built-in OSD in the past, and all the ones that were running the minimum OSD software, they had this tendency to suffer from brownouts when you did a big punch out or something. And so I was, concerned that I'd run into the same situation with this one, but I did a bunch of just hard, multi-second punch outs, and it didn't phase it one bit. So I was pleasantly surprised to see that. So all in all, I've been really happy with this build so far. I think the only real downside to it is that because of the form factor, the slightly larger than 36 millimeter board, like there's going to be some frames that it won't fit on. But other than that, it's great and I like it, and I'll probably use it on more builds. So there you go.